This is a UTME chemistry question and it is testing us on laws of chemical combination. Now, for this particular question now, anytime you want to do anything on law of chemical combination, you need to know whether it's talking about masses or it's talking about masses of substance or it's talking about volume of gases. In this question, we are dealing with mass. So now the first thing we need to do is to find the ratio of the masses as they combine. Now, identify the two things that are combining. So in these two experiments, we have chlorine combining with a metal X. So what we are dealing with is chlorine versus a metal X. So the first thing we need to do is that let's see in these two separate experiments, what is the ratio of combination of these masses together. So as we can see, there is 0.36 gram of chlorine and there is 0.71 gram of chlorine. Based on this, that implies that when we produce Y, 0.36 gram of chlorine is what we are. So let us write our Y somewhere around here. What is the mass of chlorine for Y? That is 0.36 grams. And then so we need to look for the mass of X in Y. So in the latter part, it says an analysis showed that Y and Z contain 0.2 and 0.4 gram respectively for X. So that means that in Y we have 0.2 grams of X. Now, so the first thing we want to do here is that we want to find this thing in their simplest ratio. And how do we do that? First, you decide which one you want to use to divide both sides. What I mean by that is that you can either choose chlorine or you choose X. So if you choose the value of chlorine, you use that to divide both of these values. If you choose for X, you use the value of the mass of X here to divide both of them. So me, I just want to choose the first guy. So what does that mean? I will divide this by 0.36 grams. And I will also divide it by 0.36 grams. But please take note of what you have chosen to divide here because you'll be needing it later. Of course, 0.36 divided by 0.36, that is just 1. So we have 1 ratio. Now let us do 0.2 divided by 0.36. So that will give us 0.556. So let me just approximate it like that. Now, we will go to Z. Let's go to Z now. Let's identify the masses. So 0.36 was for Y. Now, that means that 0.71 gram will be for Z. And then for X, the mass of X will be 0.4 grams. 0.40 grams. Now, this is now where you need to be very, very careful. Don't forget that you chose the mass of chlorine the other time. Then you have to choose the mass of chlorine also this time. So the other time you had the choice of picking between chlorine and X. But now you don't have any choice than to pick what you have used earlier. So you have to divide both sides here too by 0.71 grams and divide this one as well by 0.71 gram. So if you divided with chlorine the first time, you have to divide with chlorine the second time as well. So if you look at this very well, this will be 1 ratio. So if you press your calculator 0.4 divided by 0.71, that is approximately 0.56 grams as well. 0.56 grams. Now, what do you notice here is that you see that this ratio up here and this ratio down here, they are the same thing. So which implies that when these two separate experiments were performed, the combination of chlorine and metal X, they combine in the ratio of their masses. They combine in the same ratio. Since there's no difference between this ratio, so what I've done basically is that I've fixed the mass of chlorine. Can you see that? I've fixed the mass of chlorine in both cases. But even by fixing the mass of chlorine, the mass of X, in terms of ratio, still remains the same for both of them. And if this happens, it implies that this law represents the law of definite proportion, which is also known as law of constant composition. If it was law of multiple proportion, it means that as we have gotten this now, these two values, the values 0.556 and this one, which are the same, they will just be in whole number ratio, which is what law of multiple proportion is saying. So the correct answer for this particular question will be the law of constant composition. And that's it. Yeah. So if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like as well. If you are in Uyo and you would like to join our classes, you can see the details on your screen. Pi Scholars Academy, number 6 Akaitiam, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. And that's also the number you can reach if you want to make more inquiries. See you in the next one.